Now, the second argument has to do with the fact that globalization has increased inequality. Now, here we have to be clear, because there is a lot among economists of misunderstandings. I said inequalities, I didn't say poverty. Because globalization is reducing poverty, but increasing inequality. Now, as you know, the literature is huge, and so I can be very quick. Let me refer to this book by Angus Madison, one of the most important economic historians. A few years ago, he published for OECD an important book where he compared in the year 1000 and the year 2000. The book was published in the year 2004 or 5 years ago. The income per capita at the world level. In the year 1000, the income per capita at the world level was estimated by Madison $580 per year per capita. In 1,000 years later, the income per capita has been estimated in $8,000 per year per capita, which means that in a time span of 1,000 years, the efficiency, if you use increments in income per capita as a measure of efficiency, has increased by 13 times, because this is 13 times this way. At the same time, Madison measured using the Gini coefficient and the tail coefficient to measure inequality, and they discovered that inequality between 1,000 and 2,000 has increased by 40 times. Which means that inequality has been increasing 3 times more than efficiency. Which means our systems are good in generating more wealth, but they are much more bad, much worse in generating inequalities. Now, and what is interesting is of these 40 times, 50% of that, which means 20 times, has been occurred in the last 30 years. Which means in the last 30 years, which is the time of globalization, more or less globalization started 30, 35 years ago, has generated an increment in the Gini coefficient as much as in 1,000 years. Now, that gives us the measure of what do we mean when we say globalization is increasing inequality. Now, the question is, why is that so? We know why. Because globalization is a generator of pecuniary externalities. Now, all the economists in the world know the concept of externalities. After Pigou, at the beginning of last century, was the first to develop theoretically. But the point is that most economists forget to say, particularly to students, that there are 2 types of externalities. One type is called technological externalities. And our textbooks, they always speak of technological externalities. They never speak of the other type of externalities, which are called pecuniary externalities. Now, what is the example of technological externality? Pollution. I have a factory, I pollute, that is called technological externality. Then we have the Pigou system, cause theorem to cause, and that more or less we know. But nobody talks about pecuniary externality. Now, what is the pecuniary externality? It's an externality which is produced by an economic action of some agents which modifies my choice set. In other words, you do something, using your freedom, but you are doing something has an effect on my choice set. Now, the choice set, what does it mean? In other words, you are doing what you are doing interferes with my freedom of choice. That is called pecuniary externality. Now, the question is it fair? Tell me. Because we see now, if you pollute, everybody is prepared to say you have to pay something. You have to be sanctioned because you are polluting or you are disturbing, making noise, whatever you want. But nowadays, pecuniary externalities are in a direct link with globalization, because globalization produces pecuniary in an amount unknown in the previous epoch, and nobody is taking care of that. So, if people pay attention to the liberal principle, the principle of liberty, that is a real question. And liberty is an ethical concept. It's not an efficiency argument. I cannot say, well, never mind that your choice set has been restricted, because in this way you will become richer or your efficiency will increase. But you cannot trade off efficiency with liberty, because liberty belongs to a plane of discourse, efficiency to another plane, and you cannot trade off among heterogeneous magnitude. You can trade off among homogeneous magnitude, etc. So now you understand why inequality are increasing, because globalization is a powerful generator of pecuniary externalities. And when that is the case, not everybody is capable of reacting to that.